Distinguished colleagues, what we have basically is now a synopsis of where we're going. Dr. Maglassi has just given us a snippet of what we should anticipate. And we cannot exhaust everything at this point in time. Nevertheless, it is necessary that we look at some of the key technical aspects. We have 30 minutes. We have 1 hour, that is. We might cut it slightly shorter because we're mindful also that we've got a great afternoon to which much of these things will be expounded. So we'll have some probing aspects to complement what Dr. Maglassi actually said. And I will start with Madam Jana. If we are to change as a country, if we are to move forward and become an upper income economy, industrialization plays a key critical role. Apparently, the industrialization sector contributes less than 15% to the GDP of the country. And that doesn't make great sense at all. Great challenges that we face, among them, limited agricultural productivity. I know Dr. Maglassi will come to it. Inadequate infrastructure development. And according to how the manifesto is, do we have the messianic aspect in the industrial perspective? Practical dimension. Over to you.
Thank you very much. As you have just stipulated where the country is coming from, the DPP has plans. We have spoken about industrialization in many forums. 10 years down the line, we haven't really moved. DPP has developed targeted key industries. We have got agro-processing, textile, mineral processing, pharmaceuticals. And we have plans of the special economic zones, the expansion, but we have got enablers as well that will lead to that industrialization. We are talking about the mining industry, energy. In the mining industry, in Malawi, we have got the Mamiko. We are going to capitalize it with not less than 500 billion kwacha. We will ensure that the raw minerals are not exported as such. We are going to enhance the processing. The laboratories are going to be established in Malawi to make sure we have value to our minerals. Above all, we are going to ring-fence. We are going to map our minerals and ring-fence them to make sure that we protect our wealth and we benefit. On energy, we are going to look at the power industry. We will continue with the reforms that started in 2015 by the DPP government. They fell apart in around 2020. We will bring back the Power Market Limited as a single buyer, and we will establish distribution companies in all the regions. These distribution companies are going to bring in efficiencies. We cannot have an issue, electrical issue in Chitipa, and have it to report in Blantyre for a spare part to be bought to be taken back to Chitipa. This will enhance the coming in of the independent power producers, and we are going to create a vibrant power industry where trading will happen between the entities. This means growth and more connection. Thank you.
Special thanks. Madam Jan has mentioned trade, and it is concluded by default that it is trade and not aid which is going to develop Africa, because aid has never developed any nation on earth. Our balance of payment leaves a lot to be desired at present. We are lightweight in terms of exports in the country. Inflation skyrockets each and every day. Devaluation is hitting us each and every day. I would like to go to Mr. Kumbemba so that you complement on the trading aspect. Practically, according to the manifesto getting launched, how is trade and investment becoming the messiah in it, in the practical perspective? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. Let me start by saying our founding father, Professor Bingu Mtarika, used to tell the nation that Malawi must become a producing country and exporting, and not an importing and consuming. But we continue to be a consuming country. And that's more reason, just to add from what my colleague Velanti mentioned, in the manifesto, DPP wants to take this country back to the drawing board by, among others, rolling up the special economic zones. We've talked about special economic zones. Colleagues in the room wish to know that before DPP exited the stage, we had already done some work in Jigumura, where we have over 40 hectares which were ready for allocation and for factories to start up producing. In Lilongwe, Maguero, the famous Maguero, that's the DPP project that we founded to ring fence over 500 hectares that industries will locate there. And when I talk about industries, I'm not only talking about foreign investors. Even people in this room have reached a threshold that they can invest in those sites. So when we talk about job creation, when we talk about foreign exchange earning for the country, the answer is for Malawi to go back to industrialization. Malawi needs to industrialize. Malawi needs to produce. Malawi is not producing. We've gone out, as you've talked about trade. Malawi is a signatory to all those trade agreements, SADC, COMESA, now Africa, Continental, and many more preferential acts. But Malawi is not supplying to those markets because we're not producing. And there's no shortcut. So these special economic zones, like the Chigumarawana, if I can give an example, factories can start with qualifying investors, even domestic. There will be a committee to allocate even as early as September, because factories already, plots were already allocated. So when those factories start operating, then we can mop out the tomatoes that are perishing. Because there will be small industries to mop out those into production. You look at the vegetables that are perishing, dehydration factories can be set up to process cleaning food soil, which you can even export. Simple. But that is what will give us the jobs. You see, currently we're not exporting. So I think there's no shortcut, if I may put it, that, as we speak in the manifesto, we're talking about starting with 5 special economic zones. 2 are already in place, and what is remaining is just to operationalize them. But 3 will be established. 1 in Mzuzu. Land was already identified before DPP left office at Sonda, over 200 hectares. Another special economic zone will be in Karonga. And the 5th one will be in Mangochi. But not only those, because studies had already also been done in Ngada Bay, in Salima, in Liwonde, as well as Chikwawa, where land about 200 hectares was already identified. So I think Malawi needs to go back to industrialization. We should not lose sight of the fact that, we had the Kanengo industrial site, which is full. We had the Chirimba, we had the Makata. Those are full now. And when people want to invest, they have problems to get land. Because the special economic zones, they have everything together. You have water, you have electricity, you have roads. So someone simply comes and start producing, and then we can start addressing the problem of unemployment, the problem of foreign exchange, then we'll be able to export. I think let me stop there for now.
Special thanks. The future looks more bright now than ever before. And then if we keep on looking forward, if we develop the economy, we don't have to lose sight of the fact that over 50% of the population of this country is the youth. And if we do not take care of the youth, it means then we are sitting on a time bomb. Anything else can explode. Youth poverty is high, and employment is high. Even when the youth attain high education, they are still hopeless because they're jobless, they can't find the job market. Honorable Tembo, from the practical perspective, is the DPP Manifesto youth-centric?
Thank you very, very much for that. I think we've already heard some of the things that have been said, that the manifesto is going to help with the youth, but I'll just stretch on that a little bit and talk about some of the things that are going to happen, because the DPP is going to start from where we left off in 2020. So that is with the technical colleges. So make sure that the youth are back in the technical colleges, they learn nice, good skills from the technical colleges, and once they've learned those skills, they are going to then move on to get themselves a starter pack. Zomachitika patakali pano panzokuti achinyamata akakhala kuti aphunzira luso lina lilonse ena aphunzira kuweta nkhuku ndi zina zotero, koma akachoka pamene paja pamakhala kupanda ndalama zokuti apange china chilichonse. Nde mwamva kale ndalama zija 100 million kwanja ipita ku constituency ina iliyonse imene achinyamata atha kumapanga access, so they'll have that to them. Nde of course paliso ma sports development as well. Amene akuchitika kuli ma stadium amene akubwera through the Democratic Progressive Party. Ku Blantyre stadium yena kuti ibwere, ku Mzuzu stadium yena kuti ibwere. Tikudziwa kuti AFCON anasankha kuti kulilongwe kwakhale AFCON because of the quality of the stadium imene ilipo panopa. So panopa so achinyamata aku Blantyre, Mzuzu yakhala ma games ena sasodero mai kuja athaso mazaonera ku Blantyre kamene ku Mzuzu those particular games. So that is also coming. There's also 12 billion kwacha which is going to be put aside for sports development. This is the Sports Development Fund, and this is going to help with sports in Malawi. And the DPP also intends to complete the Griffin Sainda Sports Complex, the Malawi Aquatic Center, to make sure kuti we've got quality sports. Sports tikapanga developer chinyamata kuti apange sports pankhanda chinyamata mbirimbiri okuti atha kupita kunja kumaka sewera mpira kumene kujako ndikubwereraso kumatumiza ma forex kumalawi kuno kuti tikale ndi ma netballers amene amasewera kunja, tikale ndi anyamata ena ndera amene amasewera kunja. Tifuna kuti DPP ipange develop anyamata asamaswe zochita, azikhala ndi zochita, apange develop through sports kuti ateso zathandiza dziko lino kutsogolo kuno. Pali zambiri zimene zikuchitika. District iliyonse inakhala ndi stadium yake yokuti anthu athandizike kupanga za sports, and pakhalanso dedicated national budget. Ma MPs akamapita ku parliament azikapanga budget yake ya netball ndi football kuti zimene zipite patsogolo. Pakhalanso policy ya sports to incentivize companies, ma companies amene akutha kumathandiza ma youth, those companies that are sponsoring sports, those companies will be incentivized and helped in a special way so that they continue to promote sports in the country. I think for now I can leave it for there. Thank you.
Special thanks. Honorable Temple, you spoke of remittances. We know countries like Brazil and Argentina, they reckon lots of money in remittances because of their football exports. And I would like to go to Dr. Justin Saidi in the education perspective, because human capacity development is the thing that this country needs the most. At present, remittances are not that good enough to spur economic development. 2 hours flight, I was just in Zimbabwe. They made $22 billion from remittances alone, because the human capacity development is quite high and top-notch. And we can as well also do that. In the education sector, how is the DPP Manifesto addressing the issue of free primary education vis-a-vis against equality? Because we need education with quality. But also, truth be told, at the higher level, should we anticipate more universities? Is the Mumbera University still remaining a pipeline dream, or is it going to become a reality? Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much, moderator. DPP in education sector, we are looked at a number of areas. One is about the free primary and compulsory education. That is already in the Act 2013 Act. But we'll go further and provide free and compulsory secondary education to all our people in Malawi. And somebody may ask, why? How are we going to do it? We already have currently 5 million learners in the primary school and 600,000 learners in the secondary school. When you heard about the clip, we will save about 500 billion kwacha. But the cost that we require to do this is just 90 billion kwacha. So we take from the saving and be able to provide free and compulsory secondary education. And that means we'll also be able to review our 2013 Education Act so that we are able to include those issues in our act. But also apart from that, we have early childhood development centers in our country. But those are not attached to our primary schools. Come September, we'll attach all early child development centers to primary schools. We are also going to upgrade the entry qualification for our primary school teachers. It has remained a certificate in teaching certificate. We want to go to diploma and degree so that we provide the quality education to our primary school learners. Looking at the globalization, we require to review our curriculum and be able to include the issues of ICT, the environment, AI, etc., so that our teaching should match with the globalization. And we only concentrate on issues, current issues. We sometimes take 10 years to review the curriculum. And in the end, we find that we are now already maybe 10 years back, and yet the curriculum is moving forward. So we do be able to review the curriculum and focus on the issues that are very relevant in the setup that we are. The globalization will be among those issues. We are also going to introduce special loans to our teachers so that they work well and they are incentivized and be able to do other than going and get Caterpillar. We are also going to prioritize the recruitment, training, and deployment of teachers. We don't want to train teachers today and recruit them after 10 years. We'll be able to do it right away. They get recruited and we give them to respective schools and colleges. So far, we have technical education in the education sector. But what has happened is we are getting teachers from MUBAS. Now, MUBAS was established that they help people to develop or even to work on issues of technical, not necessarily teaching. So we build a technical training college for technical issues within the country in the first 5 years of our leadership.
Because we also have to have stakeholder engagement, some 2 or 3 questions, but I'll give you time to expound some of the aspects. Now we go to the health sector. Dr. Mpunga, drug stockout issues have become the norm of the day. Poor equipment maintenance is also the norm of the day. The human resource in the health sector, probably the composition doesn't match the input factor. Chaotic fleet management, among many other things. And the sector also highly depends on donors than how it can be sustainable from internally generated resources. And high above all, there's what is called high out-of-patient expenditure. Our patients have even spent more. People who are already in great miseries have also to spend more when they don't have other resources. Is the manifesto as hope in the practical perspective, and where are we going? Over to you, sir.
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. Indeed, you have highlighted a few issues that we are facing as a sector. And the DPP has come with solutions to all those problems that we have highlighted. I should first mention that it takes a healthy nation for its socio-economic development to happen. And Malawi also recognizes this fact that also health is also an enabler in the 2063 agenda. So what the DPP Manifesto is doing is to make sure that we have resources at the point of delivery. I think when Dr. Maglas was presenting, he did mention about funds that are going to be made available at the district level. We should also mention that we're riding on the same to create a fund, a health fund. You know that we have got a lot of challenges in the health sector that require funding. So that health funding is also going to assist in bridging some of the gaps that we are facing. We are going to make sure that we also make access of services a priority in this manifesto. I should just mention a few. We are going to construct new district hospitals in Rumpi, Chikwawa, and Dowa. These are new district hospitals. Colleagues who are from these districts will agree with me that they don't have state-of-the-art or good quality hospitals. We should also mention that we're going to make sure that each and every constituency out of the 229 constituencies has a functional health center. The DPP Manifesto will also not stop there. It's also going to make sure that the health posts are also being built across the board. We're also going to make sure that we have a state-of-the-art facility. We have never seen this in Malawi before. We have got 4 central hospitals, but the DPP Manifesto would like to have a state-of-the-art facility where the specialist services will be available. We are proposing that this state-of-the-art facility be stationed at Zomba. We're also going to make sure that we cut the unnecessary expenditures in the health sector. You see, we have a lot of referrals that come from primary to secondary up to tertiary level. The reason being, we have got specialist doctors who are stationed at the central hospitals. All that is a lot of cost on the health sector. So what the DPP Manifesto is saying is that we're also going to redeploy the specialists to the lower level, in this case, the district hospitals. We are not going just to make sure that the services are available closer to their homes, but also going to build capacity at the district level and at the health center. So the DPP Manifesto is one of the best manifestos I've ever participated in, I've ever seen. It's going to make sure that we change the way we do our business in the health sector. If you read the manifesto, you see that we're also going to use AI. Transportation of samples, for example, drugs, for example, to hard-to-reach areas. We also want to use drones so that where you cannot access the services quickly or the samples cannot be transported quickly, we use the drones to transport that. We have learned in a number of emergencies that we have had as a country, including the COVID-19 disease outbreaks, where we took a lot of time to get to grips with what was happening. We are proposing that we have a metric or system, a dashboard system, which is going to make sure that we keep track of the trends in all the diseases, especially the epidemic-prone diseases, so that we don't just wait until the epidemic happens. We should be able to trace the trends and be able to take action quickly. We call this situation room, the health situation room, which will be established at the Public Health Institute. And for your information, we are going to enact the Public Health Health Institute Management Act, which has remained dormant since the DPP left government in 2020. So we are going to do a lot to the country to make sure that the services are available at the point of contract and also their quality services that are being provided.
Thanks. Our friend. We can be assured that all things being equal in the way that you've expounded, then we're going to improve. But now, Honorable Samuel Tembenu SC, rule of law, or rather the other way around? Because apparently there have been quite a number of challenges. Are we all equal before the law? Are we all equal before the law? And looking at our running mate is looking at me because she well understands the issues of the legal aspects much more better. Are we all equal when we are facing the law? And when it comes to separation of powers, is the DPP Manifesto straightforward on what will happen?
Thank you so much, Mr. Moderator. I would answer the question in the affirmative that according to the Constitution of Malawi, Section 20, we are all supposed to be equal before the law. I have been tasked to talk about good governance and the rule of law. Probably, I think, let's talk about what the manifesto talks about regarding the governance. I want to break down governance in such a way that it's understood by everybody here. Allow me to just ask a question, if I may. Who among us has ever seen an elephant, a live one? Hands up. But I think there is a majority that haven't seen an elephant. But if you saw one, would you be in doubt as to whether it's an elephant or not? I'm sure you'd say, that's an elephant. So when you talk about the governance, governance has its own aspects, characteristics, things like transparency, accountability, those go into governance, rule of law. So we are supposed to have a law that is equally applied to both the governed and those who are governing. What we see lacking in our midst, and that's what the manifesto addresses, is to try and create a Malawi where all of us are equal before the law. You wouldn't want to see a Malawi where there are institutions that are not accountable to anybody. So the manifesto talks about all those governance institutions like the Ombudsman, the police, the Malawi Human Rights Commission, Law Commission, even the courts are also covered in the Constitution. All we are doing is, in the manifesto rather, what we are doing here is that we want to create a society where nobody is above the law. We want to create a society where we have a police force that promotes and protects all of us. Nobody would want to see a police force that sees people being clobbered in daylight and they do nothing. We want to move away from that. The manifesto talks about a Malawi where the wealth is equally shared among Malawians. We don't want to create a society where there is rampant corruption, that the wealth of the nation is just shared among very, very few people. So there is a lot in this manifesto that talks about equality before the law and sharing those resources that are there among Malawians, all Malawians, so that corruption is arrested. There is a problem that the manifesto identifies. You know, we have heard about talk about fighting corruption, like we have resourced the Anti-Corruption Bureau properly. But this manifesto goes beyond resourcing, because resourcing and allowing the institutions like the Anti-Corruption Bureau to operate properly are two different things. So we have we want to create a Malawi where even the Anti-Corruption Bureau is not only fully resourced, but it should be able to do its work properly without having to be bothered or to interfere with its working. We have seen in this country heads or a head of the Anti-Corruption Bureau being arrested in the middle of the night and no accountability whatsoever. This is what this manifesto is talking about, that we need to do away with those things. We want a police, like Mr. Maglas said earlier on, that is accountable to the people. We want laws that are equally applying to everybody. That's the Law Commission. There is so much. I can spend the whole day explaining what is in the Constitution about, in the manifesto rather, about equality before the law. So, equality before the law simply means that all of us must be subjected to the same laws equally without discrimination, both the governed as well as those who are governing.
Special thanks, Honorable Samuel Tembenu, SC, rule of law and not rule by law. And I've also just been informed to clarify that In the education sector, the foundations for Mbeere University were laid by the DPP government, but also on youth empowerment, that the issue of Wanderers and Bullets football stadiums were also a brainchild of the DPP. Now, Dr. Maglassi, we, as a country, Malawi depends on agriculture. It entails, therefore, that we need an agrarian philosophy that can take this country forward. South Africa imports rice from as far as India. Wow, it's only 2 hours flight away from here. And tobacco rose at Lizulu and Tsangano. Wow. Just some 2-3 countries that were in Angola, they imported 22 billion worth of tomatoes from other countries. Our problem is lack of value addition and lack of storage capacities. And not too far away from here, in Namibia, they are in the top league of importing mineral water, billions. And Malawi has got no shortage of water. Let's talk of agricultural productivity and commercialization. How agrarian are we becoming, and how is the manifesto addressing all those aspects?
Thank you very much, moderator. The section under agricultural productivity and commercialization in the DPP Manifesto, as I said earlier on, wants to make food security obvious. That one is not even up for negotiation. And I don't need to go through that. That's the DPP. Nobody has to die from hunger. Simple things. We know the challenges. There's an issue of extension service. And this will come back to the question of why our neighbors, our friends are able to do product stuff more than us. The manifesto talks about, revamping the extension services. We understand. We used to have the Land Husbandry Training Center, for those of you that remember. It is almost dead now. So the DPP says, we are immediately going to resuscitate that former Land Husbandry Training Center, and we will rehabilitate residential training centers. We have got day training centers, and we have extension planning areas. Revamp them. This is where the Land Husbandry Training Center, this is where people were doing more than food. The manifesto talks about production inputs. It has been a challenge. So there are incentives that are in there for inputs. Everybody knows we used to have FISP, the Farm Input Subsidy Program. The manifesto says we are going to resuscitate it. But we will have to reform it. A simple question. People in Cholo, most of them don't have land to farm. And we know where to do it. And those details are in the manifesto. Let's talk about Adimak. You mentioned they need probably 90 times more than what we can produce. And it is simple. On groundnuts, can I tell you what the DPP manifesto says? It's a simple thing. Anybody, so you secure the market. Once you have secured the market, you help people with input. Everybody that will be producing groundnuts for a particular market will have to get 3 million kwacha, every farmer, to worth of seeds. They produce, they go. So we have talked about contract farming and all those things in the manifesto. Climate smart agriculture technologies are in there. Strategic grain reserves. The manifesto says we need at least 150,000 metric tons throughout the year in our strategic grain reserves. We cannot be sitting here and waiting to be fed by a country that is in war. The manifesto says no.
Thank you. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this has been quite exciting. We would have loved to carry on and on and on, because there are more other great things that we have to expound. But please allow us that in the interest of time, we proceed with the other protocols. We also have got an amazing afternoon. Allow me to thank all the panelists for being so meticulous and for giving out issues greatly. And probably as we are departing from this stage, Dr. Maglas, you had something on macroeconomic fundamentals, probably as people are walking out down, and as I'm handing over to my good brother, you can expound just in a minute, and then we progress accordingly. Special thanks. Please, we may take our seats. Stay blessed.
Okay.